A last-minute change to a public forum with USC administrators and students is causing frustration across campus.
A USC nonprofit is giving students a way to test their drinks in response to drugging and sexual assault allegations at sigmanu.
A billionaire donor's design for a new dorm at UC Santa Barbara is drawing widespread criticism. Find out why people don't like the plan. Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
USC students are expressing frustration after the university abruptly canceled an in-person forum to talk about sexual assault and drugging allegations scheduled for last night. Good evening, I'm Luke Scorziell.
And I'm Anisha Banerjee. We talked to the president of undergraduate student government about what happened and what's next.
I mean, I think there's clearly a lot that needs to be done from a policy standpoint, but as far as kind of hearing directly from students on what what impacts these changes are having and what students want to see, I think that, face to face is really crucial. And I think that we missed out on that, on a very significant opportunity.
The university sent an email 2 hours before the event saying a webinar format gives students, quote, an opportunity to discuss sensitive experiences without identifying themselves. Some students are upset the town hall was not in person.
It just frustrated me that it wasn't really a dialogue, and it was sort of they could cherry pick which questions they wanted to answer that would kind of go along with their agenda. And it also frustrated me a little bit that they were answering some questions that seemed really out of touch. To me, it seemed very tone deaf to the victims of this terrible incident.
The president of USG said it's doing everything it can to connect students with resources and continues to work closely with the administration to discuss further options. A nonprofit dedicated to educating students about drug use is taking action after the recent allegations of sexual assault and drugging on campus. Taco Incorporative is giving out benzo testing strips to help keep people safe. Duffel, a student delivery service on campus, partnered with Taco to provide the strips to students. The strips are put in a drink for 10 seconds, and then after waiting another 30 seconds, the results show if that drink is contaminated. 1 line on the strip means the drink was roofied. 2 lines means it is safe.
I made the executive decision. This is happening now. We will figure out the paperwork later, for no other reason than to show the people doing these criminal acts that you are on watch. This is not going to continue flying, that we are arming the community with a way to find you out and protect themselves.
The benzo test strips can be ordered through Duffel and arrive in under 15 minutes. Taco Incorporative hopes the strips can help prevent future attacks.
The first election report card for Democratic Joe Biden is in. Democratic President Joe Biden. Off-year gubernatorial elections in Virginia and New Jersey show tighter races than Democrats might have hoped for. In Virginia, Republican Glenn Youngkin won 50.9% of the vote. Former Governor Democrat Terry McAuliffe received 48.4% in a state that Biden won by more than 10% just a year ago. New Jersey has not yet been called, but it looks like Democrat Phil Murphy will defeat Jack Chaturvedi by a narrow margin. Biden won the state by more than 15% in 2020. One expert told me that this might not bode well for Democrats going into next year's midterm elections.
Given a Republican victory in Virginia in such a close race in a heavily Democratic state like New Jersey, that doesn't guarantee any outcomes for next year. But it's going to make it much, much more difficult, it appears, for Democrats to keep their congressional majorities. A lot of Virginians who don't like Donald Trump and who didn't vote for him did vote for Glenn Youngkin, the Republican candidate for governor. So the most important lesson for the Democrats is to find out how to run next year against the Republicans, or to relearn how to run against Republicans, not just against Trump himself.
In Boston, voters elected Michelle Wu to be mayor, the first woman and person of color elected to the position. She campaigned on affordable housing, climate change, and childcare. Children age 5 to 11 will now be eligible to receive child-sized doses of the COVID-19 vaccines. Schools in the Los Angeles Unified School District, however, will not require students in that age range to be vaccinated. Some parents are concerned about the long-term effects of the vaccines.
Personal choice at the moment, I'm not, just because we saw a lot of side effects in the 16 to, in that group. I just received an email saying that there was a few positive cases in our school, and the email say, oh, thank goodness we just approved the vaccine, so we're not going to see that anymore. But what's the guarantee?
If there is a question about my kids, it's definitely no, because I'm afraid of their health, and I don't know what kind of impact, what kind of influence it will affect their body and in general their mental and the physical health.
The CDC has recorded more than 5 million cases of COVID-19 in children under the age of 18 since the start of the pandemic. Health officials say the vaccine can provide an extra layer of protection against the virus.
LA Mayor Eric Garcetti tested positive for COVID-19 while attending the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Scotland. He is fully vaccinated and now isolating in his hotel room. Garcetti was attending the conference with 7 staff members. All have tested negative. The mayor was scheduled to return to LA tomorrow, but his diagnosis is likely to change those plans. A donation of $200 million has stirred controversy among students at UC Santa Barbara. 97-year-old billionaire Charlie Munger pledged the money with one stipulation: the university build a mega dorm. The proposed mega dorm promises rooms for nearly 4,500 students in a 1.7 million square foot building. The issue with a dormitory this large is the majority of students who will not have windows and fresh air.
I think it's a bad idea. Fresh air and daylight is really important for your health and your mental health, for maintaining your circadian rhythms so you can sleep well, but also for your mental health.
A lot of my friends already suffer from mental health, issues. I think lack of access to sunlight, natural sunlight and airflow and things like that isn't really going to help them anymore. What kind of decision is this to shove a bunch of kids into a windowless dorm?
We reached out to UCSB Media Relations for a comment, but have not received a response. Despite the backlash, UCSB has continued to stand behind its decision to build the mega dorm and is on track to finish construction by 2025, once given final approval.
The group behind the Golden Globes is looking to bolster its diversity and inclusion efforts. Learn more about the person chosen to take on that challenge.
Looking for weekend plans? Coming up, we talk to the program director of a 10-day arts festival.
And we continue our Making a Difference series with a story about how one person is making the gym a more inclusive place.
Worried your friend's struggling but don't know how to reach out?
You could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could write them a text or knit them a sweater. If you can't be together, you could write them a letter. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch. However you do it, you gotta ask a friend. And if they don't share, you can ask again. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckle tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand, trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
The Hollywood Foreign Press Association announced today that it hired its first full-time diversity officer. The 87-member HFPA, which votes on the Golden Globes, came under fire earlier this year for not having any black members. Entrepreneur Neil Phillips will take on the new role. He is the former president and CEO of Visible Men Academy. Phillips is also an education entrepreneurship fellow at the Aspen Institute and a fellow of Black Male Achievement. His career has focused on promoting equity and human value within education, business, and the public and private sectors. In a statement, Phillips said, quote, "I've spent my entire career managing my own discomfort and diving deeply into the realm of breaking the bonds of systemic racism and having the uncomfortable yet productive conversations that can radically change organizations and individual lives."
Gyms and athletic facilities are technically accessible to everyone, but finding a space that can actually accommodate everyone, well, that's another story. Reporter Cassie Esparza continues our Making a Difference series tonight with a profile of someone who's making fitness more inclusive by becoming a trainer herself.
For most people, going to the gym is a tedious task, but for Sibel Simone Loreca, it has been life-saving.
I have had a few major surgeries in my life, and my doctors have told me, the gym is why you've made it possible.
Simone Loreca has recently started her journey to becoming a personal trainer, something, as a transgender woman, she never thought she could do.
Finding out that I'm probably one of maybe one or two transgender trainers that are female in this industry is exciting.
She trains clients at Everybody, a radically inclusive gym that welcomes and adapts to the needs of all types of people. One of her clients, Roca de la Luna, is incredibly grateful to train with someone like her.
Part of training with Sibel is just seeing her and seeing myself and knowing that I'm real and that I deserve to exist. There are so many different presentations of queerness and transness, and when you're in a place where everybody is that and that's the norm, it's just incredibly soothing.
In Simone Loreca's time training at Everybody, she already feels she's left footprints for others to follow.
Now that I'm a Black trans woman trainer, I don't know how many other young trans trainers can now walk in behind me.
And once she earns her official certification, she will be able to open more doors for others.
Want your back nice and flat?
For Annenberg Media, I'm Cassie Esparza.
Ramya, it's been pretty chilly on campus, but what can we expect for weather this week?
Well, happy first week of November, everyone. Halloween is done and it's time that we start putting those Christmas decorations on. We see the weather has started to cool off and today's high is going to be around 61 degrees with a humidity of 80%. Moving on for the next 5-day forecast, we see Thursday is going to be a little bit cloudy and the high will be 75 with a low of 54. We will be enjoying the sunshine over the weekend. The high for Friday is going to be 79 with a low of 55. For Saturday and Sunday, we'll have similar weather. The highs are going to be in the 70s and the lows will be in the 50s. On Monday, we will get a break from sunshine and the high will be 66 with a low of 52. I hope the cold weather is not affecting our USC athletes. Carlo, how is the sports scene for this week?
Yeah, Ramya, the Braves won the World Series and has Southern California to thank for some of the team's top players. Women's soccer has the chance to make history Friday as they travel down the 10 to take on UCLA in their final regular season game. The quarterback debate was refueled against Arizona last Saturday, but will one man get the start this weekend?
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Mark!
Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch. Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
The Braves are the World Series champions after beating Houston last night. Welcome to ATVN Sports. I'm Nicole Shearin.
And I'm Carlo Jimenez.
Left side, Swanson to first. The Braves are world champions!
It was a home run derby at Minute Maid Park. The Braves knocked in 6 runs with 3 home runs. This is the first World Series victory for the Braves since 1995. The Southern California connection is strong on the newly crowned world champs. Tyler Matzik, Max Fried, Freddie Freeman, and Travis d'Arnaud were all high school standouts in SoCal on their way to MLB careers.
Henry Ruggs is no longer a Raider. The wide receiver was released by the team after being involved in a fatal car accident Tuesday morning. The 22-year-old is being charged with 2 felonies. Prosecutors say Ruggs was driving at 127 miles an hour and had a blood alcohol level double the legal limit when his Corvette smashed into another car. The driver of that car, a 23-year-old woman, was killed. Also, Las Vegas police say a loaded gun was found inside Ruggs' car. Here at USC, the fate of women's soccer all comes down to a matchup with the rival Bruins this Friday. Midfielder Croy Bethune continues to turn heads. She scored 2 goals and the game-winning shot in overtime against Stanford on Sunday. This year's Pac-12 champion will leave Westwood with the trophy if USC can end in a win or draw. This will be the Trojans' first outright Pac-12 championship in program history. Carlo, will the Trojans make history this Friday and take the #1 spot?
Absolutely, Nicole. Look, this is a USC team that's been atop the Pac-12 since day one, going against a UCLA team that has struggled in their last 3 games. A 1-1 tie with Washington State, a 1-0 win over Stanford, and a 1-0 double overtime win against Cal. The Trojans, they're going to finish the season how they started it, the best team in the conference.
USC definitely takes that #1 spot. Croy Bethune is on fire with 5 goals in her past 3 games. She was named Pac-12 Player of the Week. We all saw her performance against Stanford on Sunday. 2 goals and the game-winning shot in overtime. She's going to carry that momentum into the game on Friday.
Yeah, Nicole, it should be a great game to watch. USC women's basketball tips off a new era on Saturday when the Trojans play an exhibition game against Antelope Valley. Alyssa Peely is expected to be one of the top forwards in the conference. The junior was named to the Pac-12 preseason all-conference team. Peely is a former Pac-12 freshman of the year, but only played in 13 of the Trojans' 23 games last season because of injuries. Lindsay Gottlieb makes her coaching debut at USC this weekend. The former Cleveland Cavalier assistant broke through barriers 3 years ago. She became the first college women's basketball coach hired by an NBA team. Gottlieb comes back to the Pac-12 hoping to lead the Trojans to their first NCAA tournament bid in 4 years.
USC football continues to use the dual quarterback system. The question against Arizona State this weekend is who will get more playing time. Sharing the field is new for veteran starter Kedon Slovis, but the freshman Jackson Dart continues to produce. He led a 15-play, 96-yard drive against Arizona, the longest touchdown drive of the season. The two players split time at practice this week, so it looks like this will be the new norm for the Trojan offense. Dante on the two quarterbacks.
So, I mean, it's about, like I say, getting the right guy on the field to make sure we will win the football game. It's not really our issue. We're fortunate because we have two really good quarterbacks that we're confident in. It's more of our opponents.
So, Carlo, what started as a Slovis-led team is now turning into a two-quarterback system. Who do you see starting this weekend?
I think you have to start Kedon Slovis, the hometown kid going back to Arizona against an ASU defense that returns 11 starters. That's everybody on the defensive end. We'll see if the Trojans can handle that experience. You want the experienced quarterback under center.
Dart needs to start this weekend. That veteran team knows Kedon Slovis, but they don't know Jackson Dart. There's something to be said about a new face against this veteran team. They've seen Slovis 3 times. Jackson Dart came to the game last weekend, had 2 touchdowns on his first, a 96-yard drive, the longest in season history. So that's the quarterback the Trojans need this weekend.
Look, Dart's looked good, I'll agree, but against who? Washington State and the University of Arizona? Nicole, this is a ASU team that is second in the Pac-12 in points allowed per game. This is a good defensive team. It ain't Tucson anymore, it's Tempe, and I want Kedon Slovis under center against the Sun Devils.
You don't want a quarterback who throws an average of 1 interception a game. Dart is the guy. He came in against Washington State, threw a few interceptions, but that was his new game. He started off kind of slippery because of it, but he's had some time to prep. He came into the game this weekend and threw no interceptions for 4 drives, so it should be interesting this weekend.
Just ahead, need a mental break? You're in luck. We talk with a mindfulness expert about how you can be more present.
Tus manos limpias estarán. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ahora seco. Lávate las manos por 20 segundos como Elmo.
Hay algo especial acerca de este lugar. Se siente como un hogar, una sala debajo del cielo y los árboles. Rodeado de aire fresco y la naturaleza. Todo aquí para que lo disfrutemos y para que lo cuidemos. Tenemos la responsabilidad de cuidar de esta tierra que llamamos casa, de preservarla para las generaciones que vienen. Cada acción pequeña contribuye para un cambio mayor y cada uno de nosotros podemos hacer la diferencia. Hay algo especial acerca de este bosque. Es un lugar donde se hacen recuerdos y juntos podemos preservarla y protegerla.
Live performances are back at the Los Angeles Performance Practice. They're hosting the Live Arts Exchange Festival. It's an event featuring dance, theater, music, and cross-genre performances in downtown LA. An event organizer tells us why her team is so excited to be back performing in person.
The work is never complete for performance. It's not complete without an audience and without that feeling. Like other people call it duende. For me, the most rewarding part always is just that moment of collision between audience and artist that's really about an energetic exchange.
You can check out the LAX Festival starting tomorrow until November 14th. If you're interested, you can buy tickets online at performancepractice.la. Today, we want to introduce you to a new segment on our show. It's called Meta Moment. We'll be giving you short and simple practices that you can incorporate into your daily routine.
During Meta Moment, we'll be joined by experts in the field of mindfulness and meditation. Today we're talking to Jim Burklow, the co-founder of Mindful USC, a service that provides mindfulness-related trainings and special events.
Great to meet you both.
Great to meet you.
Delighted to be with you.
Oh, thank you for being here. What can you tell us about mindfulness?
Well, I think I'll answer that with a question. That is, let's say you have a friend who is having a hard time and calls you up. What do you do for your friend when you get there in person?
I think I would probably just be there as a support system, both physically and emotionally, and not put a foot forward, but just really listen.
Just being there.
Yeah.
That is mindfulness. That's it. Mindfulness is present awareness of one's own experience. Doing this for yourself, what you would do for another person that you care about. Doing it for your own thoughts, emotions, sensations, and experiences. Now let me ask you this, Luke. What's easier, doing that for another person or doing it for yourself?
I think a lot of the times it can be easier to do that for other people.
That's why we have mindful.usc.edu. That's why we have classes. That's why this is a discipline, why this is a skill to build, because it is harder to do for ourselves. So that's what we do. We teach that. Mindfulness is present awareness of our thoughts, emotions, sensations, experiences, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, all of it, with abandoning judgment, opinions, advice to ourselves, and also welcoming all these experiences with an attitude of compassion or love. Watch your thoughts, emotions, sensations, experiences, bodily, physically, mentally, spiritually. Observe them with love and with acceptance and with compassion and without judgment. See what happens. Try it every day.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Luke, we're getting around to finals season. What are you doing to take a breath?
Yeah, you know, I feel like we're at that time of year where things are just going super fast. And for me, one thing that helps and that I'm trying to work on is to just take a little time in the morning and at the end of the day to reflect on the day and also pray for a little bit. How about for you?
Yeah, I mean, yoga is great for me. Thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Anisha Banerjee.
And I'm Luke Scorziell. For more coverage, watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Annenberg Media. Have a good night.